Hey, happy Tuesday, everybody. It's your coach here with Donnie Nolan in Tennessee. This is Coach's Call on Tap. This is our Week 4 NCAA football recap. And here towards the end, if we get some chance, we'll talk about a little NFL. Also, there's a lot of stuff going on. As far as leans go, leans are leans. That's why I tell you guys, you got to go to coachescallontap.com. You can hit the Discord button because that's where we post everything. Also, post everything on TikTok. I know this week, I don't know, Donnie, I don't know what happened to me, but I got in a parlay mood. And I did one parlay. No, I did one parlay now.
Okay,
I did one parlay. So the story goes, the wife and I go to College Station to watch, our Aggies play Auburn.
A&M, right.
And funny story on that. Watched the whole game. We were up there, and as our game finished, Clemson, Florida State was going into overtime. Well, we watched Clemson miss the field goal. And so we're sitting there. We had a couple beers, and it's hotter than 6 hells up there. Well, there's some guys, everybody's leaving the stands, and there's, what are y'all doing? Well, we're like Florida State, Clemson. In overtime, we're watching on the phone. So we had like 6 dudes behind us, and they were making they were making beer runs for us so that we could all watch the game. It was really pretty cool. You
can't go wrong with that.
No, it was pretty cool, man. They made a couple beer runs, and we got to watch. We got to watch that. So, then we ended up going to our favorite place in College Station, Moe's Pub. When you're down there in College Station, visit Moe's Pub. Tell them Coach sent you. They know us already. But so we had a couple drinks in us by then, man, and my wife got into it. She's got a Bovada account, but she didn't want to use it. She wanted to use my money. So we set a parlay, man. So one of my teasers that I was really strong on, because I hit one earlier, and I posted these on TikTok, the Kentucky Vandy over 44. I think that hit by halftime.
Oh, man.
And
that was half by halftime.
Yeah, and then I had Rutgers. I was big on Rutgers all week. You know that.
Also hit by halftime.
I was telling you guys, Michigan just not going to cover.
No.
So, but I ended up teasing that, and I won that. Of course, won the Florida State game. So I thought
the money line on Florida State, right?
I had the money line. No, I had a minus 2.5 also.
Minus 2.5. They won by 3, right?
Yeah, they won by 3. And so, no, they won by a touchdown, bud.
Oh, that's right. Overtime.
Yeah, it's overtime.
Remember.
Yeah.
Overtime.
So we're sitting there, and I thought, I've got a teaser. Because again, I've been high on Iowa's defense, and get to the damn bar, and it's a Penn State whiteout. I'm like, God dang it, I didn't freaking know this. One of the most important things you should know when betting, one of the indicators, one of the things that, we know what's going on. Well, I missed it, right? And so
sure.
I teased Iowa plus 21 and Notre Dame plus 10.5.
Okay.
Well, I was
That's
so
still a good bet, I think.
I was so high on Iowa, I put those idiots in my parlay. So check this out. We've been high on Washington State and Washington because they're covering machines. They've been winning us money.
I know, yeah.
North Carolina, the same thing. I had Washington State plus 3, Notre Dame plus 3.5, North Carolina minus 7. They all hit. The one that didn't hit was Iowa. Cost me a parlay, yeah. And I only bet 33, but it was going to win me 389.
Sure. And I mean, I posted
that one. So don't ever, right, Donnie, you say this all the time too. Don't ever put one team in every one of your teasers and parlays, because if that one team loses, you're screwed. Well,
and here's the other thing I say. Listen, if you're not going to bet it straight, don't put it in parlay. Yeah. Every one of the parlays that I post in Discord, I am betting straight. I posted a 7-team parlay that I hit, but I hit every one of the 7 teams. And everybody's like, man, you turned $50 into $1,000. Yeah, but I also turned 200 on each one of those 7 teams into 1,400, which is more important because I was taking them all at the spread, all the way down, not money lines, just all spread all the way down. So mainly what I do with parlays is if I've got a free bet, or a no sweat bet, as DK likes to call them, or FanDuel calls them a gift back or whatever, I use those as my parlays because I think, and a friend of mine told me recently, we talked about unit size, and I used to be really big on unit size. And he asked me, he said, why do you have unit sizes? And I said, well, how confident I am in the bet. He goes, so if you aren't 100% confident, you still bet it?
Right.
And I was like, damn, that was some shit I wasn't ready for, man. Like that blew my mind. And I was like, all right, so now I don't have a unit size. Everything is based on how much of a percent is in my bankroll. So if my bankroll is, X amount, I have 5% of that, and whether that's $300 or $3,000 or $30,000. I mean, I just go from there. And it really changed my perspective, because I used to bet underdogs really low percent, and big favorites is a big percent, as far as unit size goes. And now they're all the same, and my bankroll is growing faster. Yeah. I mean, it's a really interesting thing. But parlays, only free bets, and only if I'm really confident in it.
Yeah, my parlays are usually a quarter of what I would bet normally.
Yeah.
So I do it like I do dogs. Like Florida, let's say your unit size is 100. Florida State, that game, I bet the spread and the money line. So I'll take Florida State for, let's say your unit's 100. I'll take Florida State minus 2.5 for 100, and I'll take them on the money line for $25. That way, if they cover, or a dog. I'm sorry, a dog. If it's plus 2.5, I'll take it for 100. Yeah. So that way it doesn't hurt you. Well, I do the same thing with a parlay. That I'll put $33 on the damn thing. But for a chance to win almost 400, it's all right. But the key point I was making is, don't set that one team in every single parlay or every single teaser, or just set them one. Yeah, you got to mix it up, because one guy will
definitely
cost
don't want to do that. Definitely don't want to.
They cost me that's because they cost me big. We're talking about, like, Washington's a moneymaker for us, right? They're a covered machine, dude. Duke is another one. I've tried to tell everybody. We talked about it in the last podcast too. Dude, Duke is a covered machine, and I'm kind of excited because they've got Notre Dame this week, and I think the line started at 3.5, if I'm not mistaken. Notre Dame minus 3.5, and it's up to almost 6 now, isn't it? It's like 5.5.
It's moving up. It's moving up. I think it's 5.5, depending on which site you're at.
Yeah, but they've made some money for us. But let's talk about that, because I posted a couple of things on the Discord today that I found interesting. There's 9 teams that have yet to cover against the spread this year. Baylor 0-3-1, Georgia 0-3-1, Michigan 0-3-1, UTSA 0-4, Minnesota 0-4, Troy 0-4. North Carolina State 0-4, Illinois 0-4, and Vandy is 0-5 against the spread.
That's a very interesting stat. The Georgia thing is the one that surprises me the most.
Right.
The Vanderbilt is the one that surprises me the least. So, Georgia just, man, they really look like they can't get into second gear. They can't get that extra step to move from we're going to win to we're going to dominate. Yeah. And that's a bad thing if you're talking about making a college, a NCAA championship run. I mean, you got to be able to dominate to get those points. Now, they're still staying at number 1 because they haven't been defeated, but sooner or later that's going to catch up to them.
Yeah.
More importantly, though, I think was the other list you posted, which is the teams who have covered.
So there's 7 teams right now that are undefeated against the spread. And again, you guys that are listening, you can go to coachescallontap.com. And you could check out our Discord. I posted them in our Discord in the NCAA football thread. Oklahoma 4-0 against the spread. Liberty 4-0. Syracuse, the Orangemen, are 3-0-1. Oregon is 4-0. They were really impressive. UNLV 4-0. Rutgers 3-0-1. I was high on them. Penn State is another one, 4-0. Those guys, you just. And in going to what you're saying, finding the second gear, pull yourself away, making a statement. I think Penn State is trying to do that, Donnie, and that's
Penn State's trying. But Oklahoma is not trying. They're doing. I told everybody at the start of the season, I think Oklahoma is one of those playoff teams.
Yeah,
and they come out, they start a little slow against Cincinnati, and then second quarter, third quarter, boom, they're gone. And
they did the same thing to SMU, didn't they?
SMU, yeah. I mean, and it's just they're a young team, but they've got the ability to pull away from any game once they get in. And it was one of my picks on TikTok. I posted the over 2. It didn't hit the over, but the spread crushed. So yeah, I mean, it's Penn State and Oklahoma are the two that I'm like really high on, because Penn State's had a little bit tougher schedule. I mean, Oklahoma's schedule with SMU and some of the games they're playing, what they've got coming up is going to be tough. But Penn State's going to get, they're going to have some cupcakes coming up in their conference, where Oklahoma, man, they got no breaks. I mean, they got Texas, they got Oklahoma State, they got Kansas and Kansas State, who we all said would be, top of the Big 12.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like these coaches, they understood the assignment. Penn State understands, Oklahoma understands. Oregon's been doing it. I mean, you can say, people can say what they want about Deion and Colorado, and we're all big fans of it. Love what they're doing over there. Wish them the best. But this is where the rubber meets the road, and it met the road in a hard way. Saturday,
boy, it sure did.
I mean, we left the stadium, we left Kyle Field, and it was about a 20-minute walk to the car. Then it was about a 10-minute drive, and we got there, and it was still the first half, second quarter. It was 28-0. I mean, I missed the entire game.
It was
the drive over there.
It was quick. It was really quick. And the thing that I noticed in this game was the ability for Colorado to answer the points. Previously, we saw, with TCU and Colorado State, they would score and then Colorado would just answer that with a drive. And they couldn't do it this time. Yeah. I mean, they didn't have the horses. And I mean, if you saw the video Deion posted, man, Travis Hunter was like, "Coach, I don't care what they say. I'm coming back this week." That was the biggest thing. They exploited the corners so badly that I watched the game and I was just like, man, Travis would have been there. He has that ability to be that cornerback.
Well, I had to go back and watch it again. I agree. He's one of the best players in the country. But here's the thing, because Oregon's been doing it, Nebraska did it, and Oregon did the same thing. Except Oregon, it's a different beast. I mean, Oregon is just it's a different animal. But they'd go from a 4-down line to a 3-down line, and even with the 3-down line, they couldn't block them. I mean, Shedeur was running around. And, I mean, when you drop 8, there's not a lot of holes that you could throw it in, especially when you get athletes like an Oregon has, or, a top-tier team that they have. And it's just starting to show. These things, the inabilities that Colorado is able to do, it's starting to show. They're still going to be competitive. I said earlier in the year, it'd be hard – I see it hard for them to squeak out 3 or 4 wins. Well, they've already got 3, and then they probably win a couple more. But it's going to be tough sledding, man. If they can't answer 48, 50 points against these top tier teams, brother, they're in for a hell of a season. And I don't think Hunter's going to help that much.
The one thing that I wonder is I think Deion got out coached. I really do. And maybe it's not Deion. Maybe it's his offensive coordinator. At some point, when they're dropping 8 and rushing 3, you got to run that screen. You got to drop that ball to Walker coming across on a motion screen, dump it over in the flats and let him run. And that's the thing I didn't see them do very much. Well, I mean,
you got to run the ball.
Would Hunter have helped that? Of course, but you got to be able to have whoever's in there run that screen and get those guys to come up a little bit so you can take those shots. And hey, I mean, it's the same thing in the pros. I mean, we saw it at the Tennessee Titans and Cleveland Browns game. When Derrick Henry was in the game, they posted this stat today. When he was in the game, they had 8 men in the box on 90% of the plays, and he got negative 2 yards per carry. His worst showing ever. Yeah. But I mean, if you've got 6 men blocking and 8 men defending, you're not going to win that match. I mean, it's just numbers.
Yeah.
So I think Deion got a little bit out coached. And hey, Deion's a great motivator, and he's adding Warren Sapp to his staff, which is, if you hear Warren talk, it was a really interesting interview. He said, I've had a lot of people talk to me about, how to do things and how to be a professional. He goes, but nobody wanted the keys to the vault until I went to Colorado. Colorado, they were all like, where are the keys at? Let me get in your pockets and let me see the keys to the vault, because they're hungry. And I think they're the hungriest team in the NCAA right now, but you can be hungry and not have the horses. And right now they just don't have the horses out there.
Yeah.
And I mean, we said at the start of the season, I think they're 7-8 wins. But man, give Deion another year. As long as he don't go to Alabama, it's gonna be a big deal. I said that 2 years ago, though, buddy.
Well, hey, Woody, I saw the end of the Florida State Clemson game. I mean, Florida State has had one impressive game so far against LSU. And now they go to Clemson, who I had them beating Clemson by 10. They beat them by 7, but it was in overtime. So the game was a lot closer than that score, obviously. I had them beating Clemson by 10. Talk to me about that game. You saw that game. All you guys were watching it while I was at the game. I was at the Aggie game. Talk to me about Clemson 2-2. I know they're out of it, but does Florida State really stand a chance at number 4?
I mean, coming into the game, I thought Florida State was, hey, they actually have a chance to slip in where, Clemson has always had that spot. Man, I'm not so sure anymore. I mean, because Clemson's down this year, and they just did not look like the Florida State that needs to be. And I say needs to be, meaning, if you want to be in a national contender, you need to be dominating.
Yeah.
They did not look dominated. They looked like they were on their heels a lot. And, hey, they're lucky to squeak out that win. I mean, they really were. It was a very, very close game against a Clemson team that I don't think is very good.
Right.
I think they lose to NC. They may lose to NC State, and I think they play NC State. Let me see.
Well, if they do lose, if they lose,
they're out.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
they're definitely out.
I mean, but yeah, I need to watch it. I remember when they were playing LSU, I gave you all the information because I got the information from Florida State that alums are saying,
they have a bye week
this is the best,
which is really good.
This is the best Florida State team since 2013. I'm like, wow. Yeah. So that's when we bet them, against LSU and won some money. But I don't know, man. It's things are starting to get heated because I've still got my druthers on Michigan too, man. I mean,
they have a bye week, and then they have a very tough schedule. They have Syracuse and Duke back to back, and then play a very tough Wake Forest team. I mean, Wake Forest is not playing poor ball.
Yeah.
I mean, you can say what you want, but I mean, they're not playing poor ball. Then they get a bye. Then they basically get a bye with North Alabama, and then they come back to let's see. I think they come back to Miami. So they've got Miami at some point. I mean, it's going to be they've got a tough schedule. I don't see.
I'm not real impressed with them.
If they play like they did against Clemson, I don't see them making the championship.
Ohio State's another one. I mean,
man, they barely squeaked that out. They barely squeaked it out.
And Hartman didn't look good, brother.
No, he looked awful.
I think he lost his Heisman then. In one game. I just don't.
I think the Heisman is wide open now. I thought that, after week 1, it was all Hunter. And then it probably shifted to Shedeur after the Hunter injury. And now I think it's wide open. I mean, I think the quarterback from North Carolina's got a shot. I think that the Texas guy has a shot. I think I think it's wide open. I really do.
All right, so tell me if I'm wrong, or give me your thought. I think Penn State runs the Big Ten. I think they win the Big Ten. I mean, just watching them, just watching them, rewatching them, rewinding it, watching them over and over again. I think the Big Ten is probably, to me, the most boring to watch this year.
If anybody can beat them, it's going to be Michigan. And that's just because we still haven't seen a Michigan with Harbaugh as the coach. Now, granted, he's coaching from the press box.
Right.
You know, if anybody gives Penn State a shot, it's going to be Michigan.
I'll tell you what, other than watching my Aggies, I would much rather watch the Pac-12 this year. I hate to say it, because them Simiches are just scoring. These guys get it. They understand. We're going to go out there and we have got to beat the shit out of everybody we face. I mean, USC's doing it. Washington's doing it. Oregon's doing it. The sleeper here, is Utah. I thought somebody in our Pick'em show last week said, "Oh, UCLA to the moon" or whatever. I'm like, dude, Utah's just going to grind it out. They're just going to milk it. Utah's just here to win it. That's all they're doing. And I'm big on Utah anyway. I love their defensive style. But I mean, those guys are just going to cannibalize each other. You got Colorado and USC this week.
Yep.
USC, what they scored another 42 points this weekend against Arizona State. They start hot, they finish hot. They start off with 2 or 3 touchdowns in the first quarter and finish with 2 or 3 touchdowns in the fourth. It's just exciting to watch. I don't know what's going to come out of it. Of course. And then you got the Oregon State game, which is a coin flip. I mean, it doesn't matter what the records are, what the stats are. What are they? Is it Bedlam? Is that the Bedlam game? I don't know what they call it. Anyway.
Yeah, it's something like that.
It's something like that, but that's going to be a huge freaking game. Can't wait to see that. And then UCLA might pull one off against USC because that's another one. But I'm excited to watch that.
I'll give the Pac-12 credit. They have played very good ball at the start of the year. Now comes the cannibalization system, and we're already seeing it with the SEC. Does the Pac-12 cannibalize themselves? Does USC have to face Oregon and Oregon face Oregon State? Do they start cannibalizing themselves from within? I mean, hey, if you tell me right now the best 2 teams or the best 3 teams in the SEC are Georgia, okay, I'll give you that. Kentucky and Missouri. I'm like, wait, what? Kentucky and Missouri. And hey, you said Kentucky was going to be good at the start of the year, and I'll give you credit. They played well. They haven't really played anybody yet. So,
and they still play Florida this weekend, and we're not sure how good that is.
Exactly, because Florida looked great against Tennessee, and they looked like dog crap last week.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, Florida won their. Florida seems like Florida won their Super Bowl against Tennessee.
Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting situation. I think that Florida's going to Kentucky. It's early. It's an 11 a.m. game. I think Kentucky can kind of squeak that one out. I think, and the spread is pretty much a pick 'em. So, I mean, it's not a big deal. The big thing, though, we're going to see Georgia get tested by a real team finally with Auburn.
Okay.
Texas A&M's.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about this Auburn team.
All right.
Dude, they are not impressive, Donnie. Now, they got more impressive once their starting quarterback got out of the game. That little backup quarterback, he can scoot. Yep. He can't throw, but he can run. That's what gave us problems. That little quarterback started running around, and, of course, it was 120 degrees on the field, and it was late when they took their starter out and they brought this guy in. But, man, they just didn't look impressive sideline to sideline. We should have been up, 27 to 3 at halftime. And I'm not saying I hate referees anyway, and I'll never blame a referee for anything. But there were so many missed calls. There was so much shit going on during the game. It was just, and for both sides, but it was brutal. And I just don't. And we're not that bad. Now we lost Wegman for a couple weeks, but Max Johnson came in, and I think he was like 8 for his first 8 and 2 touchdowns as soon as he started the second half. So he did, and we got a nice out there. So we were hitting on pretty much all cylinders. Defense playing well, but man, I expected a lot more from that Auburn team. And here's the other thing. They're thin, bro. They've lost.
Yeah, they seem a little thin.
They've lost some defensive players. Yeah.
The thing I'm worried about, Georgia, this is their first away game. This is their first game on the road, and they have not looked that good. I think Auburn could sneak up and surprise them. I think there's some good matchups this week. I think this week, top to bottom, SEC, ACC, Pac-12, Big 12, Big 10, there's some great matchups. I'm really looking forward to the Ole Miss LSU because, listen, I get it. Alabama beat Ole Miss, but Alabama beat Ole Miss, and Lane Kiffin, he punted the ball. I think the best two teams are LSU and Ole Miss, and I'm interested to see who wins that game. Now, that said, the Big 12 has some great matchups as well.
Well, before we get to the Big 12, because I do want to talk about the Big 12.
Okay.
But you had mentioned LSU.
Yep.
Squeaking it out against Auburn at home. Okay, we'll watch that game. Against Arkansas. We have Arkansas this week at Jerry's World. So it's a home game for Arkansas, and it's an away game for us, sadly, here in Dallas, but I want to see how good this Arkansas team really is. I'm glad we got them after this LSU defeat. Hopefully they'll be a little banged up because that game is always close. I don't know what it is about it, but it's always close. We usually come out ahead, but I'm really curious to see the Arkansas bounce back because they look like world beaters. And now now when I watch an SEC game, I think, man, is this team really good or is that team really bad?
No, Arkansas is really fast, and they are fighters. I mean, that game was a brawl.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if there weren't people on the injured reserve list. And I haven't seen an injured reserve list on that game yet. I think it comes out tomorrow on the injury list. But I'd be surprised if there weren't some people that were banged up on that. I think it'll be a good game. I still think Texas A&M has enough horses. I think they caught LSU on surprise. I mean, going to Arkansas, hey, it's Ooh Pig Suey up there every day of the week.
Yep.
I know people that bleed red, and well, everybody bleeds red, but these guys bleed red and say Ooh Pig Suey if they've been shot.
Yeah.
So, I think it's a tough contest, but moving on to the Big 12, I mean, hey, Texas and Kansas is going to be a fight. Oklahoma and Iowa State isn't going to be easy. And the fact that you've got TCU and West Virginia, those are all going to be big games as far as, conference standing goes. Everybody's going to be looking at, Oklahoma, Iowa State, and Texas, Kansas. I mean, Texas, Kansas is pretty much, hey, winner makes the playoffs, because they're both 4-0 coming in. And Texas is favored by a big number, 16, 17.
17 and a half, I believe. That's where it opened, I thought. Yeah.
Man, I really like Kansas on that one. Kansas is playing some good ball. Just an early lean for you. That said,
and you said Oklahoma and Iowa State?
Iowa State has, Iowa State's 2-2. They lost to Iowa and they lost to Ohio, but they beat Oklahoma State last week pretty convincingly, 34-27. And I had Oklahoma State as a very good team. So, it was at home, and they are having to go to Oklahoma. The line's like 20. And hey, you talked about it earlier. What's the number one team that covers over the spread? Oklahoma.
Yeah. So, I think, and again, I know you got that early lean on Kansas. In the past, I would be with you. But I just don't see how a Texas team doesn't go in there knowing they have got to run roughshod over this team. Oklahoma, the same thing. They got to run roughshod. Now, with that being said, the Red River Shootout is coming up.
It's going to be a game.
Is that week 6? Is that the week after?
I think it's a week after. It's well after that. I think it's later in the season. Isn't it?
No, it is. It is after this
week 6.
Yeah, they got. So you're right. This might be a good chance to take Kansas and Iowa State because maybe they're looking ahead for the Red River rivalry.
I don't know that either of those teams is looking ahead for anything. They both look very hungry. I mean, Texas and Oklahoma look like they're very focused teams right now. I would not. I'm looking forward to that game. I mean, That's gonna be a good game. That's gonna be a good game.
It usually is.
I'm looking forward to it as much as I'm looking forward to USC Colorado, because I want to see if Dion can get those guys to bounce back. Right now, they're at 21.5-point dog at home. I mean, listen, Dion's going to bring out like Lil Wayne or Eminem, and he's going to be rapping on the way in. Right. Man, USC's number 8 in the nation, and looking better than Oregon right now at number 9.
Yeah.
So, but here's the weird thing: like, they're favored almost the same, and you would think after that ass whipping that Colorado took, it would be a little higher. So, number's a little weird, but I'm really looking forward to that game. I think as far as electricity goes, there's not going to be a better game on the tube next week. I think, hey, it's a 11 o'clock game, early, 11 o'clock Central if you're in Central, 12 o'clock Eastern. But I mean, you got to remember that's 10 o'clock Colorado time. So these boys from USC are traveling to a higher elevation, having to spend the night, maybe 2 nights, and then get up, be at the stadium by 7, get wrap taped, everything ready to go, and be on the field by 9:30 for warm-ups. Man, that's tough. Yeah. That is tough. You better have some good discipline for that. It ain't like Oregon last week where they were at Oregon. So,
yeah,
I don't know. I think that number's a little weird. I think it's shaky. But the over-under on that is set at 73.5. That's the highest number I've seen all year.
Yeah. As far as Colorado goes, I don't know that they can score without Hunter. That's the problem.
He's such a threat.
I mean, you saw the Oregon game. I mean, that total was in the 70s.
They were not scared. Oregon was just not scared of Colorado.
And I don't think so. Did you hear?
I don't think USC is going to be either.
Here's a new thing, and I think it came out. Stephen A. started this shit with his guys, that now Dion is so hated that these coaches are giving each other information to beat Colorado and all. I mean, if it's not one thing, it's another. And here we go with another conspiracy theory. It's
not conspiracy. I think it's happening.
First, it's in politics. Okay, let me tell you this, and this is just my opinion on it. Okay, number one.
And you're a coach, so you understand it.
Number one, yes, you're hated. People give information. Okay, that's fine. I'm still going to do what I'm going to do. Maybe Nebraska did say, "Hey, play that 3-3 stack against these guys, and it'll hurt them." And they did, and it did hurt them. They can give you enough information to win a ball game, but dude, they're not going to give you that much information to beat a team by 60. You just got to be better than the other guy.
You're just better.
I mean, they could, if me and you got in a boxing match, they can give me information on how to hurt you, but you're twice as big as me. You got a longer reach than me. You've won more fights than me. You're going to beat me. Now, I may take it to the 10th round, but to knock you out in the first round, come on, man. Give me a break. Now y'all are making excuses for him. And I'm a huge Dion fan, and I'm a huge Colorado fan. I love what they're doing. But I mean, let's just cut that shit out and let's play football. I mean, because everybody does. You don't think people have been given Saban's opposing opponents information? They have. They're doing the same thing with Kirby. Yeah, come on. But
they hate Lane.
Yeah, but you know what? Nobody's beat them by 60. Because they've still got the horses, they still got everything together. So I mean, I had to throw that out there because I thought it was.
No, I think you're right.
Funny, and I just think it's ridiculous.
I think you're 100% correct. I think, you can. Here's the counter to that. People can give you information on the other team as much as they can, but if you're a good coach, what do? You change it up. Yeah. You say, okay. Bill Belichick's given McDaniels all of my information. What do? I change it up because I'm a better coach. So when I see McDaniels doing the same thing Bill was doing, or doing something that Bill might have told him, then I change it up. Then I run that screen to the flat and get my guys open and loosen up the defense so that I can get those 15 to 20-yard gains. Hey, Deion's a great motivator. There's no better motivation in the game. He's got the championships, he's got the rings, he's got the Hall of Fame, he's got the recruiting. But X's and O's, maybe he's just not there yet. Maybe he hasn't gotten that, or maybe he doesn't have the horses yet.
Here's the thing. I think it's the horse the horses because every team gets the same film. Yeah. I mean, if I know that you're running a gap scheme instead of a zone scheme, or if I know you're running a 3-3 stack in certain situations, or 5 down linemen in other situations, if I can't get that on my own watching film, I don't need your help. Thank you very much.
Yep, exactly.
I mean, what are you going to tell me that I don't know? You know,
the only thing they can tell you that you don't know is
Shador's dog passed away and he's pissed off or whatever. I mean, come on.
When they give you this signal, that means they're running it out.
Come on.
They're running the hot route.
You ought to know by now. It's ridiculous. Yeah. It's just like watching the Auburn game. Auburn got into 4 different formations the entire game. And they had 2 run plays, a pass play, and a rollout on every one. And I saw that at halftime. I was calling the play. My wife was next to me. I said, okay, they're going to do this, or this out of this formation. And she even started picking up on it. So, I mean, come on, dude. You don't need any help from any coach. I think they're just trying to make it a feel-good story and all this other bullshit.
It is one of the games I'm looking forward to, and I'm also looking forward to that Notre Dame-Duke game. You know, how does Notre Dame bounce back after that loss? Duke's 4-0. They're going to Duke. Notre Dame's
I've got
favorite.
Duke. Donnie, I've got Duke. I got Duke to cover. I'm not going to bet them on the money line, but I've got Duke to cover. I'm going to ride the Duke train until it bucks me, buddy. I mean, that's a good ball club. That's a good ball club.
I get it. I got Hartman bouncing back. I think they threw some stuff at him. He got a little flustered. Big lights got to him. I think he bounces back, and I think they just blow Duke out of the water. Me and
you might have to have a side bet on this.
It's okay if we're different. I don't mind that, buddy.
We might have a little side bet on this, Donnie. I don't know. We'll see.
I think that and the Colorado game are going to be the games of the week, and I'm glad Notre Dame's coming on late, 6:30. I don't think there's any other games that, in that time. I think it's going to be a game that I really want to sit down and watch. I mean, I don't want to watch South Carolina and Tennessee at 6:30. LSU and Ole Miss they'll be ending about that time.
Yeah.
So I can move on. And I mean, Texas and Kansas early. Oklahoma and Iowa State is at 6. It's probably going to be over by 6:30.
Yeah.
And then in the Pac-12, I mean, we already said the Colorado USC was early, and I don't think that Oregon Stanford is a game. So those are the games I'm looking forward to. I think they'll be the big games of the week. The Big Ten's got an easy week this week. Let's be serious. I mean, Michigan's facing Nebraska. We talked about Nebraska early this year. They're not that good. Ohio State, I think, has a bye week this week, and then their late game is like Michigan State, Iowa, which it'll be a good game, but it doesn't have the star power of, say, a Duke Notre Dame.
No, just take the under in that game and let's be happy. with the
Exactly.
Michigan State, it'll be a 7-3 ball game. Let's just make some money on that and move on.
It might be a 10-7, maybe 10-7.
We can move on. I do want, and you guys that are listening again, go to coachescallontap.com, hit that Discord, come join us, because I'm going to have Donnie keep looking at the splits on this game, because I'm really, really interested in the Michigan-Nebraska splits. I really am. I don't. Michigan hasn't covered yet. I know Nebraska. I know Nebraska's bad, but I'm just really, really interested in that split. So anyway,
the best thing about that is, at the end of the day, Nebraska is still awful.
Yeah, they are.
But moving on. I'm really looking forward to Thursday night football with the NFL.
What do we got
Packers and Lions. Let's be serious. Did we not I think we all had the Packers, didn't we? On
Uh,
podcast picks.
No,
Let's see.
no. I think we all had Detroit on the money line.
Did we all? Hang on, I'm gonna pull this up here real quick.
I know we all had
we all had the Lions and they won. Then
we had Jacksonville, Baltimore, KC, and of course the Bucks.
Packers play?
And the Bucks laid an egg.
Who do the Packers play?
Oh, geez. Let me see. They played the Saints. And when Carr went down?
Carr went down.
Yeah, when Carr went down, that's when Tristan bet plus 800 for the Packers to win, and it hit.
Yep, and it hit.
Yep. That's exactly what happened there.
That's it. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see that game. That game should be a very good game. It's Thursday night football. You know, you're coming in, and the Lions are favored.
Yeah.
The Lions are favored. Home dog. Man, I really like the home dog there. I really do. I mean, Love's not playing bad. I mean, 3 games in, he's got 819 yards, 5 TDs, and 2 picks. I mean, that's not a bad line.
Yeah.
I mean, it's better than Trevor Lawrence and Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson and Joe Burrow.
And what's the line?
1.5.
Yeah, see,
I mean,
and that's
here's
the
the
thing. I mean, your key number. This is where we're looking at our key numbers again, and then we're also looking at key numbers for the teasers also, and it just stinks to me. But I'm with you. One thing you said home dog. I want to make sure this is heard and heard loudly. Over the last 10 years in the SEC, the home dog, the SEC in college. A double-digit home dog hits it like an 85% clip to cover.
That 15% is probably Vanderbilt.
Yeah. So I mean, and there's a couple of double-digit dogs. Anyway, moving back to Thursday. Moving back to the
Vanderbilt
NFL.
ain't covered in the SEC. We already know that. They're 0-5 this year.
Dude, the Dolphins.
What about the Dolphins?
Dude,
can score.
Dude, they are the fastest NFL team I've seen in a long time.
You know
that
what?
was scary fast.
Do you remember the Greatest Show on Turf? The St. Louis Rams with Marshall Faulk.
Oh yeah,
Kurt Warner. The Greatest Show on Turf. The Dolphins are the greatest team on water. I'm gonna say it. They're the Fins. They're in water. Man, they just fly past you. And it's not just Hill. They didn't even have Waddle this week. And I told you guys at the start of the week, Mosfert was the man. I mean, he's scoring at an unreal clip. I mean, what does he have now? He has, I don't even know. He's got 6 tutties. 6 tutties. He has more tutties than Jared Allen and Tua have passing touchdowns. That man has 6 tutties. That's insane.
It's still hard for me to watch these NFL games. It just seems so scripted.
Man, the spins look so good. And I told you guys they were going to be deadly. But, man, here's the kicker. They're an underdog going to the Bills. Man, give me the Dolphins.
What's
day long?
What's the line on that?
-2.5. Give me the Dolphins right now. I don't care.
Oh yeah.
Until somebody beats them, they're the fastest team on water.
So to me, when you set a line at 2.5, when the line is set at 2.5, this is the tale that Vegas is telling. Guys, the Bills favored by 2.5 at home. All they need is a field goal. Bet the shit out of them. Bet the shit out of them.
Go on, bet them. Let me get your money.
I ain't falling.
Let me get your money.
I ain't falling for that shit. I ain't falling for it.
There's some very, very good games this week that I think NFL can make a lot of money on. I think Jaguars -3 at home versus the Falcons, coming off a loss to the Texans. I think Dolphins 3-0 at the Bills. I think Broncos 0-3 at the Bears 0-3 -3.5. I think that's a good one. The Ravens at the Browns. Cleveland's favored after the Ravens gave up the victory to Indy. I think Rams at 1-2, which is almost a pick 'em versus the Colts. I don't think Colts are that good. And then where's the other one that I was looking at? Steelers -3 at the Texans. I think the Texans got lucky. I think it was a division rivalry versus the Jags, and they just were able to pick it up. But, if you want to talk games that really piqued my interest, Chiefs -9.5 versus the Jets. Tay and Kelsey got a little something going on, and they're waving to the crowd. They're waving to Tay up in the stands with Mahomes. That's not enough points. The Jets did not look that good. And with Kelsey back, that gives them that threat that they really need. Man, I think there's a lot of games that we can score on this week.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something about that Kelsey Swift combo. I will bet the Chiefs from here until Taylor Swift breaks his heart. I'm taking the Chiefs. I'm taking.
And writes a song about it. I
don't care how many points they're giving, who they're giving them to, where they're playing. As long as Taylor Swift is up there with Kelsey's mama, high-fiving and chest bumping, give me the Chiefs to the moon, bud. I mean, come on, the dude. That's what did Belichick say? He's had a lot of big catches in his lifetime, but this is the biggest catch he's ever made. So come on, Kelsey. I mean, 40.
Do you think Tay-Tay's got a song written out right now saying he could have had the best?
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's already. She's already got shit filed up there. No, there's no doubt, man. Hey, what about them Cowboys, buddy?
Ooh.
Huh?
Ooh.
What the hell happened there?
Did you see the Stephen A. Smith video?
No, I tried to stay away from Stephen A. Smith as much as I
tried to stay away from it, but it popped up and I laughed my ass off. He had a video of the Cowboys, like all this cowboy memorabilia, and it gets to his face and he just starts laughing his ass off. He goes, I told you they couldn't do it. And I mean, hey, he got it right. Did I see it happening now? No, I thought they would lose the Patriots. I did not expect them to lose the Cardinals. And if you saw the bulletin board material, you got their defense saying, I'm putting Josh Dobbs on a dartboard and I'm throwing darts at him. And Josh posted a response, him dodging darts.
Jeez.
And I'm like, listen, hey, Josh Dobbs, he played great for Tennessee last year. I'm glad he got a starting position finally. And he's better than Mighty Mouse right now. I mean, what's Mighty Mouse doing? Playing video games?
Well, my thing is this, dude. Dak Prescott just does Dak shit. I mean, that guy can't
Dak does that Dak stuff.
Dak can't help but be a loser. He can't help it. You can't put the ball in his hands, man.
Nah,
you just can't do it. I mean, and then he's got that. I don't know if you saw at the end of the game when they showed him on the bench. He's got the same look that Justin Fields does. Just as lost, like he doesn't know where he's at, what year it is, what his name is. He has no. It's just the saddest thing. I mean, that has got to be one of the smartest, dumbest guys I've ever met for making that much money and throwing that many games. I mean, it's just unreal.
Here's an interesting stat. Who has a better completion ratio, Joe Burrow or Ryan Tannehill?
Ryan Tannehill.
That is fucking sad, bro. That's sad.
Why? Because he's an Aggie, you dickhead?
No, because Tannehill can't throw a fucking cat out of the house, bro. What's more scary is Henry only has 163 yards through 3 games. Come on now. You got to – Tennessee's coaching staff has lost the team. They are gone. And, I mean, listen, the Bengals squeaked one out. They did. If you saw that game, they squeaked one out. But, yeah, that ain't going to keep happening. You're going to lose some games coming up. You got a tough division. You got the Steelers. You got the Browns. There ain't no games off. Burrow's going to have a rough time getting to the playoffs this year.
The Rams. Okay, dude. So this is one of my bets that I lost, and I text you, and I told you I was betting the over in that game, dude. They should have had close to the 40 at halftime. You're going to get in the red zone four or five times and just kick field goals. I mean, neither one of them were impressive. The only team that impressed me, really, because the Eagles, I thought, did what they should have done. Yes, I bet the Bucs. We were all on the Bucs. They just fell flat, right? Mike Evans decided not to come out in the first half, whatever.
Boy, he came out in the second half, though.
Yeah, he did. And he did the 5 catches to help me cover that bet. But the Eagles did what they should have, so that didn't impress me. What impressed me were the Steelers. I like the way the Steelers are playing ball, man. I know it was the Raiders. I get it.
Yep.
But still a professional football team, and it's still on the road. It's still in Vegas. But dude, the Steelers look good, man. I like the way they're playing ball.
They did. I think they're going to make the playoffs. I think they're the best in that conference. I think that's a tough conference with the Bengals and the Browns, but I think they're the highlights. I think the Ravens are second. The two teams that impress me most right now in the NFL, Niners and Fins.
Yeah.
I mean, until somebody beats them, you're gonna have to just keep me on the ledge. I'm gonna stay on the ledge because they look tough. The teams that don't look tough are the Broncos and the Bears. I mean, the double B's on that look awful. I mean, you're gonna have the Texans and the Colts and the Panthers that are just, and Vikings, they're just not going to do it. They don't have the horses. But the Fins and the Niners in the Super Bowl, call it right now, and give me the Fins because they're the greatest show on water.
They do. They look impressive.
Who do you think, beside those two teams, who do you think the top 5 are in the NFL?
Of course, I think Eagles, Steelers. I still think the Cowboys are a top team, but I'll digress. Give me the Chiefs, Eagles, Steelers, Houston, and
Houston.
Not Houston. I'm sorry, they just came through my screen. Miami. Yeah, and the Niners. Yeah, and the Niners. Yeah, pretty simple.
I could see that. I can see that. I think that's a good argument. I think it's Fins. I'm not sold on the Steelers just yet. I really am. I'm not. I think the Niners and the Chiefs. I think the Cowboys are squeaking in at 5th. I think the Eagles are a solid 4. But man, I'm really concerned that the Lions could be it. I mean, Goff is playing great. 819 yards, 5 tutties, and 2 ints. Yeah. I mean, that's not a bad stat line. It's just their defense is so bad. I mean, man, they give up points I don't know. I mean, they give up a lot of points. It's just and it's Detroit. It's not like they have a history of giving up a lot of points because they have a long history of giving up a lot of points.
No shit.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's your top 5 teams right now until, we see some injuries. I think it was Ravens. I think they were up there. The loss of Dobbins was just incredible.
Yeah, that's crushing.
They do not. It's the same with Chubb. I mean, and everybody, and I think we even said it last week. You're like, hey, do you think Kareem Hunt really improves? No, they didn't really improve. The Titans just suck. Hunt didn't do a dang thing. He didn't show me anything. What did he do? Have
20? Talk about showing you something. How about
23 yards?
How about our Aggie A-Chain with the Dolphins coming in, rushing for 2, catching 2. They couldn't stop the kid. I mean, that was impressive. And you know what? And this is where I want to end this. I had him on the bench on my fantasy team.
Did you really?
Yes, I had Tua. So Sunday morning I got up and I was in the restroom doing my best thinking, and I substituted Jalen Hurts for Tua, right? I thought, well, they're going to have a big game. I did that, which was great, but I forgot I had A-Chain on the bench, and I really screwed myself. And I still can't win a freaking fantasy football game.
We'll update the fantasy football for everybody listening. Rolling Smoke Beach Coach, the 131 to 113. I can't feel my tongue, which is Tristan, beats Chase 128 to 122. Big number of the day, Logan Scott and Pollard Green's 184 to 108 over Team Perry. McFly, which is 3-0 now, 125 to 107 over Team Ronan.
He's got the Cowboys defense is why.
I ended up losing late to Jefferson, who stays 3-0, 149 to 164.
Wow.
And I thought after I had 42 points from Devontae Adams, I'm like, I got this, right? Like, I got this. But no, that was not to be the case. I mean, we had A.J. Brown pulling out 22, and then and I had it. But I mean, hey, there's sometimes where you do fantasy and you look at your bench and you're like, wait a minute, if I'd have put that guy in, it would have worked, like you were just saying.
Yeah.
I couldn't have put anybody.
Yeah. And this is why I hate fantasy football, because I had to make the change because I was betting the Bucks. I was going to have Jalen Hurts on my fantasy team, so I had to switch them. So this is probably the last year I'll ever do fantasy again. I hate that shit. But anyway.
Hey, but I mean, tell me, would you start Tank Dell over DeAndre Hopkins?
No.
Of course not. I mean, it happens. That's the fun part of fantasy that I love. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I still wouldn't start Tank Dell over DeAndre Hopkins. Like, maybe I should now that Ryan Tannehill can't throw the cat out of the house. But,
I mean, I think I was on my posted bets. I started off 3-0 in the morning. Then I had a teaser in the afternoon, and then we got to last night, and I was 1-3 in my bets last night. So, but those are all posted. Again, follow us on coachescallontap.com. You can follow us on the Discord. You can also follow us on Coaches Call Zero on TikTok. That's where me, Donnie, and Tristan post our bets during the week. We'll go on there and post them, and you could follow our year to date. We're all still up a little bit in college and in the pros. I think Tristan's really killing it on his posted plays also. But go visit
posted
us on
plays on TikTok. I don't have. I can give you our.
We'll go over that. We'll go over that during our
podcast. You'll go podcast.
Our Pick'em show.
Pick'em tomorrow. So if you don't know, join our Pick'em podcast tomorrow. We have NCAA and NFL, and we'll go over all of our picks.
Yeah, and they're really leans because things happen to change. They change. We're real high on certain things, but if handles move and stuff like that, of course we change our bets, and we do a lot of live betting, quarter betting, half betting, and you can catch all that on our Discord. Make sure you go to coachescallontap.com, and we have a link here to our YouTube page. And we have a link to our Discord. Go and join us. Also, we had a podcast last week with Sharp System Sports Betting. They do a lot of teasers and parlays. They hit some big ones this weekend. Make sure you follow them on TikTok too. Sharp System Sports Betting on TikTok. They're doing pretty good. Donnie, you got anything left before we close it out, buddy?
No, not really. I mean, it's going to be a good week. We had a great week last week. It's like you said. I mean, we post our podcast picks on Wednesday, and unfortunately, by the time Sunday gets around, sometimes that changes, or Saturday gets around, sometimes it changes. So you got to join the Discord. I mean, I posted 7 picks Sunday morning for the NFL. All 7 hit. I had them all individual and on a parlay. So that $25 paid $1,000. You just need to join the Discord. I mean, it's all we can say. I mean,
now Tristan went 8-1 on Sunday.
Yeah.
I mean, he was.
We had some good bets Sunday.
Yeah. So make sure you go to Coaches Call on Tap. If anybody asks, coachescallontap.com. It'll send you here to our YouTube channel. And then follow us on Coaches Call Zero on TikTok. Me, Donnie, Tristan put our stuff on there. Sharp System Sports Betting. They're also they're become part of the group now. You can follow them if you like teasers and parlays and everything. But until then, man, y'all stay tuned. We're going to have our Pick'em podcast coming up tomorrow. Those should be loaded up in time for the Thursday night football game and our Saturday NCAA game also. Donnie, thanks for being along. Guys, thanks for listening. Make sure you like, you follow, you subscribe, comment. Let us know what you think. I know I got some haters out there. Y'all keep it coming. Y'all don't scare anybody. We love you. Thank you for following. And until then, man, hope all your bets hit. Thanks for listening. Adios.